In May 2022, a team of cave explorers in southern China descended into an enormous sinkhole and found something unexpected at the bottom. The pit stretched more than 1,000 feet across and dropped about 630 feet below the surface. Far beneath the rim was a dense forest, with trees reaching nearly 130 feet tall and thick vegetation covering the ground. Large cave entrances opened from the surrounding cliffs, leading into completely unexplored subterranean networks. And perhaps the strangest part was that this was not an isolated discovery. It was the 30th giant sinkhole identified in this area alone. These enormous sinkholes are known as tiankung, a Chinese term often translated as heavenly pits. If you're picturing the kind of sinkhole that opens under a road and swallows a car, these are on a completely different scale. They form in karst landscapes, where slightly acidic rainwater slowly seeps through cracks in limestone and dissolves the rock over very long periods of time. Those cracks can gradually widen into underground passages, rivers, and large cave systems. As the cavities below the surface grow, sections of the ceiling can eventually become unstable and collapse, creating the steep-sided depressions seen at the surface. The result can be a sinkhole hundreds of feet deep, with an entire cave system hidden beneath the surrounding landscape. And in southern China, these sinkholes are not especially rare. In some areas, the landscape is almost like a massive block of Swiss cheese covered in forest. Some areas contain dozens of these enormous depressions, connected by cave systems and underground rivers. From above, the landscape still looks like ordinary forested mountains. You could walk through this region without realizing that an entire hidden world exists beneath your feet. Getting into one of these hidden forests is an expedition in itself. Researchers exploring these sinkholes have had to rappel down steep limestone walls and navigate sharp, uneven terrain just to reach the forest floor. And once they get there, the isolation doesn't exactly make things safer. Expedition accounts mention venomous snakes, swarms of mosquitoes, and terrain difficult enough that even moving through the forest can be slow and dangerous. It's also worth noting that reaching the bottom is only half the challenge. After spending hours exploring the forest below, researchers still have to make the difficult climb back up the same steep walls they descended. The isolation that protects these ecosystems is also what makes them so difficult for humans to study. And once researchers reach the bottom, the environment begins to feel noticeably different from the world above. High cliff walls block strong winds, trap moisture, and shield the forest floor from the scorching heat of direct sunlight. Humidity stays remarkably high, and temperatures remain strikingly stable year-round. Biologists often describe these secluded environments as continental islands, where life operates under its own localized microclimate. Standing on the bottom, surrounded by dense vegetation and trees stretching toward the opening far above, you feel the distinct, eerie sensation of stepping into a living time capsule that has been running on its own rules for thousands of years. The large cave openings in the sinkhole walls may be even more mysterious than the forests themselves. Many connect to cavern systems that extend far beyond the areas reached by daylight, and some passages remain unmapped. Once you move past the forest floor and into those caves, the environment becomes darker, harder to access, and even less understood. It is easy to see why places like this inspire jokes about monster movies and whatever might be hiding underground. But the real discoveries are strange enough on their own. Scientists studying these isolated habitats have already found organisms that were previously unknown to science. In one sinkhole, researchers documented 8 new species of cordyceps-like fungi from a group known for parasitizing insects. Soil collected from another sinkhole produced a fungus so unusual that scientists placed it in an entirely new genus. And with parts of these forests and cave systems still difficult to reach or map, there is no reason to assume everything living there has already been documented. Some of the plants found inside these sinkholes also belong to ancient evolutionary lineages that have survived dramatic changes to the planet's climate and landscape. These forests are not frozen snapshots of the past, but their isolation has allowed unusual plant communities to survive in places where they may have disappeared elsewhere. That isolation can be both a benefit and a problem. Recent research on the endangered tree Magnolia aromatica found that populations growing inside these sinkholes can benefit from the cooler, more humid conditions, which may help protect them from heat and drought. But the same steep walls that create that refuge can also limit movement between populations. Seeds and pollen do not travel as easily in and out of the pits, which can reduce gene flow and genetic diversity over time. In other words, these sinkholes can protect a species from some of the pressures outside while also making that population more isolated. From the surface, these places can look like ordinary forested mountains. But hundreds of feet below, entire ecosystems are growing in isolation, surrounded by steep cliffs and cave passages that still haven't been fully explored. And that may be the strangest part of these sinkholes. They aren't hidden in some unreachable corner of the planet. They are simply tucked below a landscape people have been walking across for generations. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more strange and fascinating places hidden around our planet. And let me know in the comments, would you ever climb down into a giant sinkhole? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.